Hello everyone! For this week's tutorial I'm going to do a couple different variations of the colored ombre. So I've done something a little more subtle with the black and the green both horizontally and vertically, and then I've done a little more contrasting with the relay gray and the green as well, both vertical and horizontal for those ones too. First I'll show you the more contrasting variation, as it's a little bit more difficult than the not so contrasting, just because you can see all the little tiny details. So I like to use my Uber Chic cleanup brush again for this. Again, it is my favorite brush for any sort of gel polish work. I find the synthetic bristles work really well. So I've already prepped my nails, I've applied my bondage, and I've cured my first and last for about 20 to 30 seconds. Now I'm going to take the relay gray. I'm just going to apply it up by my cuticle, bringing it about halfway down the nail. You do want to have a nail wipe with some after wipe ready, as you will be wiping your brush quite a bit for this look. Okay, and then I'm going to take my hashtag Don't Be Late, which is our new dark green from Light Elegance in the winter collection. I'm going to apply that on the bottom half of my nail. I'm taking my brush clean and flat, I'm going to drag the green up to the gray. And I'm going to wipe my brush in between each drag, otherwise I'm going to get gray spots down in my green. And then I'm going to do the same thing and drag the gray down into the green a little bit. And start mixing the two colors in the center of it. Okay, and then I'm just going to give that a quick 10 to 20 second cure, depending on UV or LED. And I'm going to do the same thing for a second time. This time I'm just going to drag the green up to the gray. Then I sort of like to feather in the middle the two colors. Give that another quick cure. So now this time I'm going to take my green, I'm going to just fade it up a little bit more than halfway. I'm just going to pull a little bit of this down and give that a quick cure. And then I'm going to take more of my gray and bring that down just over top of the green. And it is harder to do contrasting colors. It is a lot easier to ombre together a dark and a dark than it is a dark and a light. And then I like to take a little bit of my gray, put it across the middle. And then I'll take a little bit of my green and mix it in with that gray in the middle, mixing it right on the nail. To give me that in-between color of the two of them. And pull it down a little bit. Up a little bit. I'm going to give that a quick cure. And then just down at the bottom here, I have a little bit too much gray right in here, so I'm going to fill that in with some green. Just using your own personal, your own discretion to decide where you need a little bit more of one color or maybe a little bit less of another, to fade those two colors into each other nicely. And then I'm also going to show you the vertical ombre. I'm going to show you this one with the dark. It's the same technique whether you're doing an ombre with a light and a dark or a dark and a dark, you'll just find you'll have to play with it a little bit less when it's a dark and a dark, because they just blend together easier. But for a vertical ombre, I'll take my dark color and I'm going to paint that on just under half of my nail. I'll take my other color, paint that on the other, just under half of my nail. Okay. And you can put your paints on a tile if you like, but if you're careful, I find it's pretty easy to just dip your brush in, and I'm just gonna get the green on half of my brush, and then I'm gonna take the black and put that on the other half of my brush. Okay, so now my brush is half green and half black, and I'm gonna paint right down the middle with both of them. You don't have to be too precise, as you are trying to get these two colors to sort of blend in the middle together. And then I can add a little bit more black on one side and a little more green on the other. Okay, I'm gonna freeze that for 10 to 20 seconds. And I'm gonna do the exact same thing again here. Dip half of my brush in the green and half in the black. And then I'm just gonna paint right down the middle. You can leave it with just 2 coats. Personally, I like to do 1 more. I just find with the ombre, 3 coats tends to make them blend a little nicer than 2 coats does. Then that's gonna cure. I'm gonna do the exact same thing with the white, or the gray and the green with my vertical, and the same as well with the black and the green for my horizontal ombre. And then normally I would do my full color on top, but since everything else is going underneath, I'm just going to do my full color on this thumb underneath of my building gels as well. Okay, and then that's going to go in for a full minute cure in LED or 2-minute cure in UV. And then I'm going to continue with my fill as per usual, so applying my flex for my building gel. And that's gonna go for a full 2-minute cure. Okay, then I also wanted to mention too, if you have anywhere where you've filed a little of the color away, especially around the cuticle area, if you just take the detail brush, also from Uber Chic, and you can just take a little bit of color, place it into wherever you've filed away the color, and then just lightly feather it in. Okay, and then you will want to give that a full 1 minute in LED or 2-minute in UV light cure. Okay, and then you're just going to apply your top coat. Today I'm using Flat Matte from Light Elegance. You can seal this with whatever top coat you like. Okay, and that's going to go for your full minute cure in LED or 2-minute in UV. And we'll give that a quick wipe. Apply some cuticle oil. I've been using this stuff from Light Elegance. It's all natural jojoba, basil, lavender, and tea tree oil. With the matte, I like to then just take my after wipe again, as the oil does make the matte look shiny. And there you have it. A couple different ways to do the colored ombre, both vertical and horizontal, with light and with dark.